I'm gonna cop a couple pleas first. I like Kawhi. I think he's the second best player in the league.
Ooh.
I love Paul George. I love Paul George because he's perfect player for today's NBA, right? I love the Clippers. Me and you always like, with the whole squad, they're like, yo, watch out for the Clippers, right? And Lou Will and Montrez, I was like, yo, I love this guy, Rough Rider, all that. But the better duo has to be LeBron and AD. I'm sorry.
Stop it.
No, I think Clippers are gonna win a championship, but the better duo on basketball is just LeBron and AD. They work perfect. I don't care. That's it. Holla at me.
I'll let you. All right.
It's your boy. Holla at
Well,
me.
first off, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna take Paul George and Kawhi for a number of reasons. One being that arguably 1 and 2 best defensive players in the league.
Right.
1 and 2, arguably 1 and 2, 1 and 3, wherever you want to put Rudy Gobert, he's somewhere in the top 3. Right? So I'll take 1 and 2 in defense. LeBron's not even top 10 anymore. He's not even top 20, barely top 100.
Right.
All right? No cap. But AD, I mean, I love AD on defense too. He's probably top 10. So
Bro, he's top 5, top 3.
top 10.
It might be like Paul George, Kawhi, AD, top 5, yeah, and then Anthony Davis. Sorry,
AD top 5?
KD, sorry, yeah.
AD top 5.
Yeah.
Cap. All right.
What?
AD's not top 5.
Okay, top
AD's
7.
a great defensive player. I'd say he's close to top 5. If he has a really good defensive year this year, I'll put him top 5.
All right.
But I'm going to take those two. I'm also going to take it for the fact that LeBron is now, 36, 35?
Right.
35. AD is, 26 now, I believe? I believe he's 26.
Yes.
I'll take the two guys that are right in the middle, right smack in the middle of their prime of primes. I have Kawhi at 28, and I have Paul George at 29. They're at their prime ripe years right now, where they're just going to go on a tandem. And they're perfect. I feel like they would work perfect together. They're not very, vocal guys. Like, Paul George talks, but, he's not, overly talkative. You know
He
what I mean?
doesn't talk.
He does talk.
Don't tell me he talks.
No, he talks a little
doesn't
bit.
Talk.
He talks a little bit. He talks more than Kawhi.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I guess. Okay,
Kawhi don't talk like that, but I feel like just together, them working together, I feel like they work together really well. I feel like they're kind of similar players. They're kind of similar. Paul George is the better shooter. Kawhi's the better finisher, I believe, at this stage. He's the better finisher at the rim. I think they can both be good closers on a team. So I think honestly, I would take those two over AD and LeBron. But
let me ask you, what role do you think Kawhi's going to play in your Clippers team this year?
in the Clippers team this year,
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the leader of this team. I think he's going to be the leader. I think Paul George is going to take the 1B slot. I think Kawhi's going to be the 1A.
So what type of role,
Paul George is 1B.
basketball-wise, is Kawhi going to play? Basketball role?
Oh, what position?
Yeah. No, not position. Like role on the court.
Oh,
You don't
role
have
on
a
the
true
court?
point. You don't have a true point guard. So I
think they're going to run the ball with Pat Bev. I think he'll be
Really?
I think he's good enough at distributing the ball. He's not a playmaker like Chris Paul or Rondo or Lonzo. He's just the guy who's he's just gonna move the ball a little bit.
Okay.
Plus, you don't need to really make that many plays with the amount of talent that could be on that floor at one time. You don't always need to be making plays, but he'll make the right plays at the right times.
Yeah, versus
He's not a big
the
turnover.
Warriors, you guys were just running around.
Yeah, they run around. They're a good, fast team. I like it. Good defensive team, but I think Kawhi is going to be sticking more to his mid-range this year. I think he's going to be stuck near the mid-range, and I think Paul George is going to do more or less more three-point. I think he's going to be more of a three-point shooter this year just because there's a little bit of a lack of three-point shooting with the starter. So I think he's going to be the main three-point shooter on the starting roster.
Right.
Kawhi will mix in some threes here and there, but his bread and butter is the mid-range. He's money from mid-range.
So I asked you that because LeBron obviously is going to play point guard for Lakers this year.
Yeah.
His backup is going to be Rondo.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the exact reason why 36-year-old does not matter. 36 years old does not matter in terms of LeBron because his whole career he's been playing as a point guard, right? He's been the guy who kicks it out. The point forward, yes,
yeah.
point forward. He's been the guy who basically takes the reins from the point guard who just brings it up the floor. Mario Chalmers, Mo Williams, Derrick Rose, everybody.
He's been working with a lot.
Everybody. Matthew Dellavedova.
I mean, the best point guard he's ever played with is Kyrie. So.
Right, and even then, Kyrie.
And then after Kyrie, it's Mo Williams. Really,
Exactly.
We're not working with a long list here.
Yeah, so he kicked it out. K-Love's role diminished because that's how LeBron wanted to play. So I'm thinking, you basically built the roster so that LeBron's you don't have to deal with a Kyrie. You don't have to deal with a Derrick Rose trying to get his. You don't have to deal with Dwayne Wade. You don't have to deal with guys like that who are going to be looking to score the ball even when you're on the floor. So that's why I think, his pick and roll partner being AD, the fact that he has people waiting for him on the perimeter now with Danny Green and others, KCP is not a bad shooter either. I think just for that, they're going to have a success formula that's going to be more consistent than Brandon Ingram trying to fit in with Lonzo Ball in the same time. That's why I said Brandon Ingram should have came off the bench last year, so that Lonzo has the ability to allow other players to score, and Brandon Ingram could lead the second group. And who's Jason Kidd and no, not Jason Kidd, Frank Vogel. The disrespect.
Also, well, I mean, it'll be Jason Kidd's team.
It'll be Jason Kidd's team.
That coach hiring made no sense to me. Not even the slightest. Of hiring Jason Kidd as the assistant. Because if you're bringing Jason Kidd in, Jason Kidd's strength is being able to bring out the most in a young player, instilling the confidence. Like, he instilled that confidence in Giannis. That brought him to a new level. He's very good at developing young talent, instilling the confidence in them, which was the problem with the Lakers' young players was Lonzo, like, he needs to be more confident with the ball. Brandon Ingram needs to be more confident with the ball. Kuz needs to be more confident with the ball. But then you bring in Jason Kidd to help with their confidence, and then you just ship almost all of them out of there.
Right.
So it just didn't make any sense to me. Frank Vogel, I don't think he's that great of a coach. I mean, he really doesn't impress me. He didn't impress me with the Pacers. He really didn't impress me with many teams.
Well, J. Kidd is a player's coach.
Yeah, J. Kidd, that's the thing. He's a player's coach. That's why he's so great with the young players.
Right, and that's someone perfect to have with LeBron and Kuz and AD. And Kuz, another guy who's going to feed off the way LeBron and AD played. Last year, Kuz, even last year when everyone was trying to get theirs, Kuz got his playing off the ball. Yeah. He went after those second chance rebounds. He made cuts inside when there were shooters. He
waited for that kick out from LeBron.
He waited for the kick out.
All day. That's all they do.
He did the pick and roll sometimes. So as someone who's already learned how to do that, sky's the limit. So he's gonna feed off them having the ball and them getting him the ball at the same time when he's gonna be a small forward in that starting lineup. But the problem I have with Kawhi is this, right? The reason I said second best player in the league is because I think KD's the best player in the league. People are going to say Giannis. People are going to say Kawhi. People are going to say LeBron. But I think KD is the best player in the league for several reasons. Two-way player, top 3 defender. I think you agree on that.
I don't know about top 3. I put him up there.
Oh yeah, your guys are
I put him
up there. Yeah, okay. So I forgot about that. Yeah,
I'll take Paul George defensively over.
So KD. He has. I've seen the ability of him being able to defer to a second star. I have not seen that from Kawhi. So I'm not.
Well, I'm
not saying he can't. I'm just saying I haven't seen it yet, right? So I'm not going to jump that and say I'm gonna say that duo was better. If that I would say that duo was much better if I had seen Kawhi already play with a second star of Paul George's caliber.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. He hasn't played with anybody who was of caliber yet that he felt the need to distribute the ball more. Like. His best player last year, his best player to distribute to last year was probably like Pascal Siakam. He was probably their number 2 option.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're working with Pascal Siakam, he's nowhere near the level Paul George is. I mean, when he was on the Spurs, he was working with the out of their prime big 3 of, Manu, Tony, and Tim.
Right.
But still, like, at that rate, he wasn't really scoring the ball as much. He was more or less worried about the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
He would still get his touches in there and still get the points. I think he averaged 14 against LeBron in the finals. 14 against LeBron in the finals.
All I know is LeBron said, "Oh shit" when he came out.
Yeah, played really good defense on LeBron. But I think this year Kawhi is really gonna have the upper hand on that. On him, I think him and LeBron. I think Kawhi is the upper hand this year.
I want to ask you how you think the Clippers rotation is gonna go because they're loaded.
I think it's gonna go Pat Bev. Obviously, I think the starters are set in as Pat Bev. I think it's gonna be Pat Bev. I think it was Kawhi playing 2. I think it was Paul George 3. I forget who was I think it might have been JaMychal Green 4.
Yes, 4.
JaMychal Green 4, and then Zubac's 5. But I think when they play the Lakers. Just my thing. I think that they might put in Montrezl Harrell to start over and play defense because he plays tenacious defense. And you're going to need someone like that who's going to play on AD because AD, the one thing that bothered me about AD always, I felt like he never had that dog in him like that. I need to do this. Like I feel like when people were playing real like hard defense on him, I felt like he was a little bit on the softer side where he was kind of like, I'll take the buckets I can get, but I'm not going to go hard. Like he doesn't have that killer like some players have, like the Dwayne Wade where. If you're playing tough D on him, it's only going to make him better. Like the Kobe, like he doesn't have that like tenacity to him, like almost. You know what I mean? So I feel like when you put somebody like Montrez on him, who's like he's psychotic when he's on defense, like spit flying out of his mouth, screaming at you, like
In the video, you saw that shit.
Bro, like it looks like he might be able to cause AD to have some problems, especially if you throw him in early game. He's gonna throw off everything with all of them. I think Lou Will coming off the bench is just perfect.
So they're keeping that duo off the bench, the momentum they've had.
I think most of the time,
year.
I think they're gonna keep both of them off the bench just because. I mean, JaMychal Green is a great defender too. I mean, especially in that Warriors series, a lot of people were talking about how Pat Bev was playing defense on KD. I mean, there were times where JaMychal Green was really up in KD's face.
His confidence went up in that series.
His confidence went skyrocketing in that series because when you're playing really solid D on KD, I mean, some of the shots KD was hitting, nobody in the world would have been able to guard it. I don't care who you throw in front of him, he's gonna make those shots. He's just that cold. But I mean, the defense JaMychal Green played, the defense Pat Bev played, they were really giving KD a hard time. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, JaMychal Green was a nobody when he was with Memphis, and that's unfortunate because
he's a really solid player. Rodney McGruger is going to be a great player, great two-way player for them. It's going to be really fun to watch.
You guys are 5 deep.
We run
5 deep. You're gonna be able to sub players off.
Yeah, we run deep on the defensive side of the ball, especially like. We have defenders running at you from all ways. I think Doc Rivers is going to love.
Do you still have Landry Shamet?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so you're looking at.
He's starting at the 2. He's starting at the 2. Kawhi's at the 3. Paul George at the 4, and Zubac's at the 5. And we have JaMychal Green coming off the bench with Montrez.
I think that first formula was better for you.
I think it was better, but I think that's the formula they're running with now.
So if Shamet comes off the bench, you're gonna have that momentum.
That
Lou
shooter
Will
right there, boom.
Exactly. You're gonna have that momentum of Lou Will with
shooters.
Montrez. You're gonna have those two as the point guard center duo. Then you're gonna have McGruder and Shamet on the wings or in the corners, ready for shots to come up. It's gonna be lit in LA. I swear to God.
Is. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great to watch the two teams play.
Yo, I think they're gonna go to the finals for the next. LeBron's 3 years now on the left on the contract. They're gonna meet in the conference finals.
Oh yeah.
As long as he's there.
Barring any kind of decline.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give the Max Kellerman, Tom Brady, Cliff theory. I'm not gonna give that a shot, but
because he's too good at he's still too good.
He's just like that. I mean, but still, we had a small sample size last season. I felt like also watching back from the season, like I was watching it back recently. I felt like after the groin injury, he almost lost a step. Like it looked like he lost a little bit of the speed he had, which is why I think he cut weight this year. But that was the big thing, though. It's just the huge frame coming at you. It looks like he lost like a pretty decent amount of weight. So. It's just about how fast he can get back. It's all about how ready he is for the season, and if he's ready, it's gonna be great. This is a question
that came up in my head. Should the Lakers have stayed patient with the players they had last year and seen what it would have been like with a full rotation, or was it too late in LeBron's career to think about that?
I think it's too late right now. You signed LeBron, you signed a 34-year-old LeBron, and you can't sit there thinking about the future. It's now. There is no future anymore. Let's worry about now.
Yeah.
But every time the Lakers seem to do that, it always seems to kind of backfire one way or another. Like it always seems to backfire one way or another.
Yeah, they tried to go now a little bit last year, but when they tried to go win now, it was with bad Kobe and bad knees Kobe.
When they went win now last season too, it made no sense because they were like, we're gonna have the young players around LeBron. We're gonna try and build them around LeBron, and then will take us to a championship in a year or two. Right. And then eventually it's just had a couple games in, everyone scrapped that idea. We're like, we need to get a star player here now. We need to get all the young guys out.
Well, no,
and then you bring in a bad mix of veteran talent. It just didn't work. No,
I think they started off the season pretty well. It's just the injuries started kicking in.
I'm saying I think they had a bad free agency before that anyways. Besides LeBron, after you look at the signing of LeBron, they really haven't made that many splashes in free agency signing. Most of their signings have just been kind of average, so-so washed up veterans, washed up veterans. Yeah. Especially this season. You guys signed DeMarcus. Yeah, that was a good signing, then he got hurt, so that threw a wrench in the plans right there.
He might be one of the biggest falls from grace
it's just so sad. It really is so sad.
He might be one of the biggest what ifs in sports history.
He might turn into a big what if.
It's
just such a shame.
He was the best center before Joel Embiid came around.
Undoubtedly, best center. And even when Joel Embiid was starting to rise up, people were like, "Yo, listen, it's not even 1A, 1B, it's 1-2." And then all the injuries started kicking in, and then that's when Joel Embiid took him up top.
Yeah, and Boogie was ahead of his time. But Joel Embiid didn't come in with the perimeter game. He came in and developed that game, and that's what's crazy to me is that Boogie Cousins was so ahead of his time. Yet Joel Embiid just comes in, and Boogie's injuries and bad teams with the Kings, and just not being able to play with the Warriors. That was just New Orleans.
Yeah.
That was a good duo as well.
Yeah, it was just
Shit.
kind of a shame to like watch. I mean, it just, and then especially like, all right, back to what I was saying. It was about the free agency. Like after you look at DeMarcus Cousins, I mean, the free agency signings were kind of just, they weren't really there. I mean, the best free agency signing after that, I mean, like Danny Green. I mean,
I wouldn't think they want to make good free agency signings.
They re-signed Rajon Rondo, which was all right. I mean, but it's Rajon Rondo. Like,
but I'm saying that goes back to the formula that I was talking about of them two being together. Is I don't think they want to disrupt that in any way possible, in any way, shape, or form.
I never understood signing Rajon Rondo last year. I didn't understand that at all. Because Rajon Rondo is the exact same player as Lonzo, except he's 6'2" and Lonzo's 6'6". So it's just you're almost downgrading from.
I still
Lonzo
like Rondo for the Lakers,
Rondo.
though. I still like Rondo for the Lakers.
Rondo
though.
right now.
He's
for the
consistent,
Lakers.
yeah.
Rondo right now for the Lakers is great, but when you have Lonzo on your team, who's Rajon Rondo, but younger, more athletic,
Yeah.
6'6",
Yeah.
can get up there with all them, rebound, better defender. I mean, what are we doing here? It just looked like it was gonna be a disaster from the start. I mean, you're signing JaVale McGee, you're just signing like a bunch of like role players you're just signing a bunch of role players, just hoping that they take a bigger role.
Right.
Like it didn't look right from the beginning.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it looked like it was just LeBron and then young guys versus the league.
Trying to make it work, yeah.
Trying to make it work. It looked like they were just throwing players together, just hoping that LeBron would be their savior and just bring it all together. But he's 34, 35 now. He's not going to be capable of doing that every season where he's going to be able to every season carry just a bunch of Randys to the chip. Like, it's not going to happen anymore. He's out of his prime. He needs to get some stars with him. He needs to get at least one star with him.
God forbid any injuries. I don't think either of your Clippers players are going to be MVP candidates. That's just how good your team is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, like for the first time, you might not see Kawhi or Paul George as MVP candidates just because they're that good. And I'm not saying,
Yeah, they're going to be great together. I think it's
Right.
just going to be like, they're just going to be like so tight knit. I think their numbers are both going to take a little bit of a hit, but I think altogether the team's going to go way up.
That's crazy. That Clippers team is nuts.
The Clippers team runs deep, especially defense. I mean, plus, I mean, Doc Rivers is coaching the team. We don't have no scrub Randy coaching the team. We don't have no Nick Nurse running.
Underrated. Doc
We
Rivers is
have Doc
underrated.
Rivers,
He's
who-
underrated.
Right now, I'd say is the second best coach in the NBA.
After.
Greg.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
After Greg, I think he's the second best.
Right. I agree.
I think Spoelstra up there, top 3, top 4. He's in that top 5. I know that. He's up there. I wouldn't put Steve Kerr there.
I'm trying to think.
I wouldn't put Steve Kerr top 5.
There's not a lot of good coaches in the league. It
not
just
gonna
depends on who the players are.
I'm not going to put Steve Kerr top 5 for one reason, because Luke Walton came in and won 30 games with that team. I mean, come on, this is a little ridiculous now. We have players calling the plays on the sideline.
Yeah, it's weird.
Everyone talks about how amazing of a coach.
Shout out
Steve
Mark
Kerr
Jackson.
is.
Shout out to Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
He built that team.
He did build that team.
Literally,
And so did Jerry West. And guess who has
exactly.
the Clippers?
Jerry West. He's gonna probably be the best exec of all time.
He is.
He is the
this
best exec
man,
of all time.
he honestly, I'd say the NBA, like business as a whole, not the game, it's just the game, the business as a whole, Jerry West is the GOAT. This man is the logo. He was an amazing player.
They gotta change that logo.
Amazing coach, amazing executive. Whatever this man does with a basketball, near a basketball, it's just greatness. Whenever he's near basketball, teams, anything, greatness.
You got the
comes.
Midas touch.
He's really does. He's the NBA GOAT, not the game. He's not the GOAT at the game. He's just the NBA GOAT altogether. The business organization, the organization of the National Basketball Association, the GOAT is Jerry West.
Right.
There's never been a person who's been super amazing player, top 50 player all time, an amazing coach,
Right.
and an amazing executive. It's just never been done before. And I don't think it'll ever be done again.
All right. So we'll go back to the last year's Lakers real quick. You now have the Pelicans. You're a Pelicans fan. You now have Lonzo Ball. You now have Brandon Ingram, and who else? Josh Hart from the Lakers.
Josh Hart.
With Zion, with Jackson Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of other.
Somebody's giving him attention.
Right.
He deserves it.
Right.
I'm telling you, that boy's gonna be special.
So talk to me about how that team, how you see that team playing out.
Right now, I see that team.
How their season playing out.
I see that team playing out. If all goes well, if everything goes perfect, down to plan, 8th seed in the West.
Really?
I think if everything goes according to plan for them, they'll be 8th seed. If everything falls apart, It just doesn't work. This could be a dumpster fire.
It's tough.
But
it's tough for me.
I think this team is going to be real competitive in the near future.
Hey, we had this conversation before we recorded. Who's going to be the 8th playoff seeds in the West, and the Pelicans were 9. Like
I think if all goes well.
I know. Yeah, if all goes well.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
I'm talking about Zoe wins most improved player, like everyone's talking about. Like Zion wins rookie of the year. Like,
they're good. Yeah.
Becomes a superstar rookie. That's what we need, like a Luka Doncic year out of like Zion.
Yeah.
Plus
the
Zoe
Mavs
out.
edged the Pelicans out in our projections for
Mavs.
Yeah, the Mavs edged because KP and
Luka's
experience, they played in Europe and they also had a really good first seasons, and Luka's already playing like a veteran. He wasn't even a rookie last year.
Yeah, he really came in as a veteran, as a 19-year-old veteran. It was ridiculous.
Kid won a World Cup, not a World Cup, a League Cup at 16 years old with Real Madrid in Spain. It's fucking crazy. That's ridiculous. Like the next level to the NBA.
Yeah, really. It's right below NBA. It's like we're talking about like goes NBA, goes Euro League, college basketball, and this man is out here scrubbing. He was scrubbing Euro League like it was nothing. Goes to the NBA, he just starts scrubbing NBA players with the step back.
I think I really like the Mavs. So if there's one team that I see falling off and giving you the 8th seed, it's the Spurs. I don't like the hype. Not the hype, sorry. I don't like the way people talk about LaMarcus Aldridge and him being the guy they take him to the promised land. And he's not that guy anymore, okay? You have DeMar DeRozan, you have Dejounte Murray as your duo. You're winning. You were winning games before Dejounte Murray went down.
Don't forget that other kid.
Gary Trent.
No, the other kid, point guard who was playing Derek White.
That kid
is disgusting.
Derek
Him and
White.
DeJounte Murray, both of them.
Derek
That's
White.
a great point guard 1-2 right there.
You guys, why are you guys talking about LaMarcus Aldridge? Why are the media talking about Aldridge? I'm sorry, he's not in the shape he used to be. He's not the same player. He's not the. This is a league for guys who can step out, and he can step out, but he's not an athletic guy by any means. He's not,
He's not that
just
step
not
anymore.
like that. He's just doesn't have it anymore.
Step.
Exactly. You like. Seriously, Greg Popovich did an amazing job with DeMar DeRozan and those point guards, and the disrespect is crazy. How you talk about LaMarcus Aldridge is the guy who's going to take it to the promised land. Get the out of here.
Greg Popovich is the one who's going to take you to the promised
land.
Right? Let's not cap.
Yeah, let's not get crazy.
I mean, the NBA is going to be really interesting this year to watch altogether.
Yeah. Woo! I just got chills, bro. Yo, it's going to be the best season ever.
Hey, you're saying that now. We're going to go a weekend, be like, this was a dumpster fire. Every team has failed so far. This is looking horrible. Somehow the Suns are first in the West. What is going on? Cameron Johnson, 25-year-old rookie, is Rookie of the Year candidate right now. What's going on?
Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year.
Ben Simmons is leading the Rookie of the Year polls. This is a problem.